Good morning. I'm Tom Ramsey, Harris County Commissioner, Precinct 3. I want to welcome you to an area of Precinct 3 here on Bissonnet. It's also in Councilmember Pollard's district. And we are celebrating something that's happening here today. We are all aware of the human trafficking problems we've got on Bissonnet. And as Councilmember Pollard and I was discussing a few weeks back, you know that track it's called the track from Beltway 8 to 59 has been a problem for decades. You know, there's really not anything we can do about it. But you know, Councilmember Pollard and I said we're not going to do that. There's something we can do about it, particularly since as of September 1st, it's a felony to solicit prostitution. It's a first state to do that. So today is to formally announce that. You see the signs behind me. I'll start to say I won't read it to you, but I think I will read it to you. So here it is. As of September the 1st, solicitation of prostitution is a felony. That's different. That wasn't any like that any other time. The punishment is up to 2 years in jail. Cameras are recording. Multiple cameras are recording. Law enforcement is patrolling, as seen here today, and violators will be prosecuted. Let me be clear. We are focused on those people that are out here committing a felony. We recognize there's victims associated with this. We've got, with our group today, let me start with thanking Constable Ted Heat and his folks. HPD is here well represented. Ed Pollard, Councilman Pollard will go into that. The DA's office is here. Thank you for being here. Our pastor is here today of Higher Dimension. We have numerous behind the scenes businesses along here. Let me just simply say, crime has never been a bigger problem in Harris County than it is today. And that's whether you're talking about murders, you're talking about burglaries, doesn't matter. But we're not going to ignore what's happening on Bissonnet any longer. So what do you call this? I call this a great first step. This is the first step to deal with the problem. And we're going to have resources. We're already spending resources, but I think we're going to do it in a very productive manner. Listen, these folks in blue, they work together. They're already working together. They get up every day from the sheriff's office to the constable's office to HPD. They work so well together, supported by the DA. What we're going to do is facilitate that support, encourage that support, focus on that support, and yes, bring more resources. By the way, it was two Commissioners Court meetings ago, I asked for 50 patrol officers. Now I'm still waiting for them to give me an answer. Hopefully I'll hear that soon. Part of that patrol, some of those patrol are going to be right here on Bissonnet. So I'm excited that we're not going to tolerate crime in Precinct 3. We're not going to tolerate crime in Councilmember Pollard's district, and we're working together. And I hope you see the image here. This is the city of Houston working with Harris County to make a difference in the neighborhood, and we hope this is the first step. Councilmember Pollard, before we take questions.
Well, hello, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Councilmember Edward Pollard, and I represent District J, which covers Bissonnet Street between US 59 and the Beltway 8, which sometimes is referred to as the Bissonnet track. Several months ago, I received a letter from a young girl who attends school in the area. She said it bothers her to leave school and see prostitutes walking up and down the street. She questioned if I cared about the area, and if I did, what am I going to do to make a change? That letter really touched me, and I vowed to my staff that we make this issue a priority. I also received an email from a concerned constituent with a link to a video that showed how rampant the prostitution was off this street every night. The video depicted women barely covered walking this street and cars stopping to solicit. I was so disturbed by what I was seeing that I immediately reached out to Commissioner Ramsey to show him the video. And we both looked at each other and understood that it could not continue like this under our watch. So no matter how complex and complicated the problem is, we have to try and find a way to resolve it. And with that, I want to acknowledge Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 3, Tom Ramsey, and his leadership in coordinating this press conference with me. I also want to acknowledge Assistant Chief Bashir, Commander Hardy, Constable Ted Heap, Chief Deputy Harris, Johanna Stallings from the DA's office, and all the law enforcement personnel that are with us today. The Bissonnet corridor has been a challenging area for a long time as it pertains to prostitution. What I've discovered is that there has not been a lack of effort in an attempt to address this issue, but efforts have not always been addressed with one strategic plan, where all agencies, all levels of government, nonprofits, and community stakeholders all work in tandem with one mission and one plan. The mission is obvious: to eliminate prostitution so that there's not so much visibility on it on this street. Our start is by alerting the public of the new legislation that was passed making solicitation of a prostitute a felony, with Texas being the first state to codify this offense as a felony. We are going to do this by placing high visible orange signs all the way down Bissonnet Street as a warning. Moreover, we definitely want to increase police presence and focus on the Johns who solicit, because if you cut off the money source on the street, it should decrease the visible activity on the streets. Again, I want to thank Commissioner Ramsey and his office for working directly with my office and the mayor's office in getting these signs up so quickly and making this issue a high priority. Next is the plan. Next week, we will be convening a private meeting where we'll put all agencies and all offices in the same room and collectively devise one strategy that we will deploy. The plan will focus not only on prosecutions of prostitution, but creative deterrence, discussing urban design and traffic patterns, utilizing technology and software, interlocal communications, and more. It will also focus on determining the true root causes for prostitution and what needs to be done to address addiction, mental illness, domestic violence, lack of resources, and lack of opportunity for women who feel trapped in this life. The bottom line is, Commissioner Ramsey and I are both committed to doing what we can do to help clean up this area by providing vision and leadership to address this issue. And we aim to truly make an impact and improve the quality of life for those who live, learn, and work on the Bissonnet corridor. Thank you. And at this time, we will take any questions.
Yeah, the signs that you see behind me will be located up and down Bissonnet, beginning at the Beltway, going to 59. So those are going up today. So at this point, that is a clear change from what's happened before. In case people didn't know, it's a felony. What used to be a misdemeanor is now a felony. And the best way to communicate that is an orange sign. And I think you can see that orange sign for a distance anyway.
What about on Plainview? The main street where people are soliciting, is that street gonna have a sign?
Right here.
One down here?
Yeah, they'll be up and down Bissonnet.
But not on the other streets? Like
Not
on
the other
the
street, right.
And anything else? Are there any other announcements besides the sign that's going up today?
So the sign is just the first step, all right? And we're using the sign as a warning. September 1st is quickly approaching. Commissioner Ramsey and I wanted to make this a priority to make sure that people understood the changes in the legislation. So this is just a warning, but it's only the first step. it's going to take a collective effort from the city, the county, all law enforcement agencies, stakeholders, nonprofits, community leaders to kind of come together, speak to those like Pastor Johnson here with the Higher Dimension Church on the dynamics of the area, and put together one plan with one strategy, so that although we all may have good intentions and be doing our own things separately, it's time for us to come together collectively and put together one plan. And so we